Hi, I'm Ronnie Walsh and I'm the host of Extrapreneurs, and this episode is focused on mental health. Mental health affects all of us, regardless of gender. We're going to look at a recent study on entrepreneurs and their mental health, how to create psychologically safe workplaces, and the training that you can bring into your office to help your business be more mental health aware. Stay with us, we'll be right back. NLOWE has been supporting women entrepreneurs in Newfoundland and Labrador for more than 20 years. It's your goal to succeed in business. It's ours to make sure you do. Female entrepreneurs in growth or startup phases of their businesses are more likely to report instances of mental illness compared to their male counterparts. That's according to a recent study from the Canadian Mental Health Association. Recently, I spoke with the lead researcher, Dr. Sarah Rodriguez, on the Going It Alone report into mental health and well-being of entrepreneurs in Canada.
What were some of the key findings in the study?
So some of the key findings were that generally entrepreneurs reported when asked that their mental health was good. 79% of entrepreneurs that we surveyed, and we surveyed 476 people, indicated that they felt mentally healthy more than once a week. And I should mention that that's consistent with the 79% of Canadians who report very good or excellent mental health. However, and this is a surprising finding, when we asked entrepreneurs about specific mental health satisfaction or experiences in a given week, entrepreneurs reported less satisfaction. So that 79% figure changed a little bit.
Were there specific types of entrepreneurs that were more impacted with mental health issues than other entrepreneurs, whether it be business size or gender?
Yes, we did see differences when we broke these entrepreneurs down into different categories. We saw that entrepreneurs who were operating smaller businesses, so businesses with fewer than 10 employees, experienced the mental health impacts of stress and stress in general far more greatly than did entrepreneurs who had more employees. This could be attributed to the fact that entrepreneurs with more than 10 employees perhaps have others that they can delegate responsibilities to. They have people who can support them in decision making that can help offset some of the stress. Entrepreneurs with fewer than 10 employees have less of an ability to do that. We also saw that female entrepreneurs experience stress to a greater degree than male entrepreneurs did. So we saw significant differences along the lines of gender.
Did you dig deeper into the why that females were reporting those higher numbers?
Some of the things that women told us, and this is because the sample size is a little bit smaller, more anecdotal, but we learned from women that they felt it was far more challenging to prove themselves as entrepreneurs in what has for a very long time been a male-dominated space. We also found that female entrepreneurs had much more difficulty, they thought or reported, with work-life balance because they are more likely to have childcare and familial responsibilities that they are less able to relinquish when compared with their male counterparts.
Were entrepreneurs more likely to seek help if they recognized that they need it, or were they, like entrepreneurs do, head down and keep moving forward? What was the finding?
So the finding here in the survey that we conducted was that entrepreneurs engaged a diverse range of what we might call coping strategies or efforts to maintain positive mental health. So the most frequent ones were things like practicing self-care, doing yoga, taking a break, going on vacation, exercising, and all of those things were informal and they're overwhelmingly individualized. And that shouldn't surprise us in and of itself. Entrepreneurs are known for being self-directed and they're known for being entrepreneurial, but we were surprised to learn that of this group, just 16% reported turning to professional help and just 6% sought help online.
What were some of the recommendations in the report?
We really hope that what this report and our outreach efforts will do is raise awareness about entrepreneur mental health that encourages recognition of the fact that a healthy business needs a healthy entrepreneur. And so we hope that business support organizations and networks will start to incorporate mental health into their programs, into their activities and their events. And we're hoping really to start a conversation also among mental health professionals and service providers to ensure that they recognize, and this is something that we're actively working on at CMHA, the unique challenges that come with entrepreneurship and being self-employed, and in many cases running a small enterprise, and to be able to respond to this specific set of circumstances when working with this population.
In your initial release of the study, you talked about providing tools for entrepreneurs. Can you tell me a little bit more about that and a bit more about your outreach that you plan to do across the country coming up?
Yes, absolutely. So in the immediate, we have several speaking engagements lined up across the country, and this will be in small and large business communities across Canada. We'll share the findings of the study, but also work again to raise awareness about the importance of mental health in the entrepreneurship space. And in the medium term, we're exploring partnership opportunities to develop a series of accessible tools, resources, and educational materials that will be tailored specifically to entrepreneurs. And this is really intended to meet them where they're at, and we hope that this rollout will happen in 2020 and 2021. And the series of tools and resources is really designed to provide something immediately that meets entrepreneurs where they are at. We know that these are the kinds of things they're engaged with. So if we can provide something that's tailored, then we have a sense that they will already use it. And then in the long term, we do hope to do that more specific engagement with mental health professionals, with business support organizations, to really cultivate a more mentally healthy entrepreneurship ecosystem writ large.
You talked earlier about shifting the mindset of entrepreneurs. And when entrepreneurs think of their business, they have a business plan. So what should they be thinking about as key elements to that business plan, whether they're a startup, 5-year in existence, 25 years in existence?
Mm-hmm. So a good business plan is, of course, about long-term financial planning and forecasting and predictions and things that come with building a good and strong business. But we would also encourage entrepreneurs to really think about taking care of themselves and how they themselves as individuals and their employees fit into the business plan. So how do you preserve yourself and your integrity and maintain healthy habits while running a good business? So think about things like setting time limits on email, disengaging when necessary, getting a good night's sleep, all that good stuff. And of course, if you're struggling with your mental health, speaking to a mental health professional.
Have your business, your financial plan, and have mental health and wellness, and creating a psychologically safe workplace is basically where entrepreneurship needs to be going in the future.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for talking about this very important research that yourself, the CMHA and BDC have undertaken. And I should mention that if you want to read more about the research, you can go to the cmha.ca site and download it directly from there. Thanks again, Sarah, for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Rogers TV produces 100% local community programming. It's an exciting volunteer experience. We train hundreds of volunteers to work side by side with professional television producers. No experience required. If you'd like to volunteer, visit rogerstv.com.
When you think of workplace safety, you often think about hard hats and boots, but it actually includes your mental health and your psychological safety. To talk about what that is exactly and explain what psychological safety is in the workplace, I'm joined by Jenna Kane. She's a counselor with a holding place. Thanks for joining me.
Well, thanks for having me.
What exactly is a psychologically safe workplace?
A psychologically safe workplace would be one that promotes mental well-being and really works to reduce the risk factors of mental injury in the workplace.
And what are some of those mental injuries that you can experience in the workplace?
Well, we see a lot of burnout happen when people are overworked or feel like they don't have the capacity to handle work stressors. It can affect your physical health, so stress can lead to higher cholesterol, can lead to reduction in immune system. We see a lot of issues with your executive functioning as well, so we can have difficulties with problem solving, difficulties with retaining memories, difficulties with making decisions. So a lot of those things can be affected by stressors in the workplace.
The national standard for psychological safety has been around for a while. What exactly is it though?
Yeah, so the national standard for psychological safety is a list of guidelines for employers to make sure that their workplace are psychologically safe. It comes with tools, it comes with resources to really show us how to implement it and why it's important to implement.
So you work with people who are obviously employed.
Yes.
What are some of the mental health challenges or issues that you are experiencing through your casework?
I'm seeing a lot of low mood. I'm seeing a lot of burnout in the workplace. So this can be from feeling like we've got unrealistic deadlines, like we don't have a work-life balance. So, you know, outside of our place of work, we do have a lot of real life stressors as well that can definitely affect us in the workplace. There seems to be some struggles with really knowing how to balance it all, but also how to cope with some of those stressors. So when people seek counseling support, it's because they feel like they don't have the capacity to handle all of these things.
What are the differences across the generations in the workforce for psychological safety and mental health awareness?
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of differences across generations. So, you know, we have to recognize that each generation grew up experiencing significantly different events that affects their values in the workplace. Right now, more millennials are entering the workforce, and we're seeing they have more value in a work-life balance and in fairness. So they're often more likely to expect that their workplace is safe and expect that their workplace is fair. So they're more likely to stand up and say, hey, these are the things that are wrong, and this is why I want my workplace to be safe.
Interesting point. So how do you know if your workplace is safe? I'm an employer, or our audience are employers, or leaders in businesses. How could you even tell if your workplace was safe?
Well, it's a good question. You know, outlined in the standard are actually 13 psychosocial risk factors. So if we take a look at all those risk factors and we say, where does our workplace fall in these? Are there gaps in some of our policies? You know, I'll touch quickly on some of those factors. So one would be psychological support. You know, does your workplace promote mental well-being, and if you need resources, are they available? More and more workplaces are offering programs like employee assistance, where you can reach out and connect with local counselors. What is the organizational culture like? A negative culture can unfortunately undermine any of the best policies, and that's really looking at, is your work culture fair? Are you trusting your superiors? Is there a lot of honesty in the workplace? Leadership, do we have trust in our leadership? Are there clear expectations on what we need to do to succeed? Are there opportunities for growth, opportunities for development, work-life balance, workload management? So those are a number of some of the psychosocial risk factors that are available.
So there's a lot of benefits to having this in place. It improves productivity, performance, maybe employee retention and attraction.
Absolutely.
So where would an employer or a business leader get started, briefly?
The Mental Health Commission of Canada website has the standard available for free, and they also have a couple toolkits available. The Canadian Centre for Occupational Health and Safety has a toolkit that you can download for free. So these are great places to start for your employers to look at, where do I go from here?
Well, Jenna, this was a great first start conversation. Yes. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Extrapreneurs is proudly supported by A Holding Place, providing individual, couples, and family counseling. Extrapreneurs is proudly supported by Invested Mama, moving you and your money forward. We spend the majority of our adult lives in the workplace. 1 in 5 of us will have mental illness, but every one of us has mental health. Despite that reality, there is still discussion that's happening out there now that employers could be having more effort or more discussions to make psychologically safe workplaces for everyone in the building. To talk about this issue and where we go from here is John Din. He's a workplace mental health coordinator with the Canadian Mental Health Association right here in Newfoundland and Labrador. Now, John, you deliver training in workplaces about mental health. Why do you go and do this training?
Well, it's kind of like you said, Rodney. 1 in 5 of us can experience a mental illness in a year, any time in a year. But 5 in 5 of us have mental health, which we need to look after it. No different than our physical health. Also, like you mentioned too, we spend a lot of time in the workplace. If anyone's in the working age, so somewhere from 20 to 39 are our prime working ages, and those are the ages actually where people are most likely to experience a mental health issue. Also, we spend about 60% of our waking hours at our workplaces, sometimes more, sometimes less, sometimes with the same people in the same conditions. So for those reasons, we really need to start looking at psychological health and safety in the workplace. Also, our mental health can be very much helped or hindered by our workplace, by the things that you do, the way you do work in your workplace, the way things are carried out. Right. So the workplace has a lot to do with people's mental health. Not that they're responsible for mental health, but it can do a lot to help people with mental health, maintain their mental health, and prevent mental illnesses from developing in that.
So what kind of training do you offer?
So we offer a flexible range of training for different workplaces and different, different settings. So we do a lot with, say, government departments, any workplace. We also do stuff with unions. We also do stuff with associations, professional associations, community groups, and that. So some of the courses that we offer, we might offer a lunch and learn session for someone who wants to be more familiar with workplace stress, or maybe even anxiety or depression in the workplace, or things you can do to make your workplace safer and healthier. We also do a number of trainings. So we do assist training, suicide intervention training, safe talk about suicide, how to be aware of it, and how to get someone help. We also do mental health first aid, which is similar to anyone getting physical first aid. Is how to prevent a mental health problem from becoming worse, and actually how to identify it and prevent mental health crises in the workplace. We also do one on called Changing Minds, about the stigma. We have people with lived experience that actually participate in that course and give people a full understanding of the illnesses.
Bring in that real life experience.
Real life experience.
So you talked earlier about a specific age range. Is that because a lot of age happens, a lot of living happens in that time frame, and that could bring ups and downs?
Generally, anyone who would have a mental illness, you might see the first symptoms, 50% of the symptoms by the age of 14. By the time someone is 24, you might see up towards to 75% if someone was going to develop a mental illness. So very important, those periods of time, especially when you're up in the 24 age range, is when someone's first finishing school, probably out working, right, or in the workplace. So the numbers show that anyone from 20 to 29 or 30 to 39, that's where you'll see the highest incidence of mental health concerns and issues.
So when you go into the workplace, what differences are you seeing after you go in and offer this type of training and have this discussion?
Well, sometimes when I go in, I don't necessarily see the differences as such right away, right, because I'm not there afterwards. However, I will tell you this, when we do our reviews afterwards of feedback forms, A lot of people say they really got some good information out of it, some good skills, some good information that they can take not only in the workplace but also in their own personal lives. Because we do a course, say life-work balance, and I always put life first.
Right.
Because without your life being taken care of, psychological or mental health, you won't have a work life.
So the stigma exists in general society, just talking about it, but you're now focusing on the workplace. I just want to touch on briefly, what challenges do you face trying to get into workplaces to have these discussions?
Sometimes it's still that stigma where people, something like we probably don't want to talk about it, or maybe someone doesn't see a need for it, or some people are probably afraid that if I do talk about it, is that going to impact my ability to work, promotion, or how to work here further. But in the long run, I think it's you will see a return on investment, not right away, but you will see a return on investment. There's been studies in the UK where for every dollar or so you put towards mental health benefits, and that they see 2 to 3 times back in terms of, so you might see less sick leave, you might see less long-term sick leave,
right,
and that. So it does have a benefit, whether you can see it right away or down the road. It's no different.
Eventually it'll happen.
Eventually it will happen,
So
yes.
this is for businesses big and small, and they can go to the CMHA-NL.ca website to find more information?
Yep, the CMHA NL website, and you go on there, you just scroll down to Workplace Mental Health Coordinator program, and you'll see all the different programs that we can offer to your workplace.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, John, for coming in. Really appreciate this discussion.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
NLOWE has been supporting women entrepreneurs in Newfoundland and Labrador for more than 20 years. It's your goal to succeed in business. It's ours to make sure you do.
Rogers TV produces 100% local community programming. It's an exciting volunteer experience. We train hundreds of volunteers to work side by side with professional television producers. No experience required. If you'd like to volunteer, visit rogerstv.com.
For behind-the-scenes information, additional resources, and feature interviews, visit Extrapreneurs.ca.
I think I always wanted to be an entrepreneur from day one when I started in the workforce. I got the opportunity when Beothic Data downsized, and I thought this is the right time, the right place, the right thing to do. My favorite thing about being an entrepreneur was, at the beginning, flexibility for my family. Now, it's good for running my own businesses that I'm my own boss. I can make the decisions. I don't have to look to anyone else to do that. The other thing is to give back to the community, which is really exciting because we do a lot of work from some charities in Newfoundland and Labrador. We're small, but we're mighty when we give back to the community. Hi, guys. The people that inspire me the most is my family and my team at Prima right now. Over the past number of years, I've been involved with WPO, Women's Presidents Organization, and there's a lot of really, really amazing women in that organization that inspire me every day. The secret of my success has been my team and always going with my gut. I've actually turned down business because it didn't feel right. When I haven't done that, it's always come through that it's never worked out. Client retention is really important to us, so I want clients that are going to stay with us and help us grow, and in turn help them grow as well.
Special thanks to our guests who came on the show today to talk about these important issues in our workplace regarding mental health. If you or someone you know needs assistance with your mental health, please contact your doctor or reach out to your local mental health crisis unit. We'll also be posting some additional information on our website, extrapreneurs.ca. Thanks for taking the time to watch this program today. We'll see you next time. Host of Extrapreneurs, the show about the issues and opportunities facing women in business. We talk to the experts on investing, mental health in the workplace, hiring for your business, getting your marketing strategy right, and leading and managing change for your business. If it affects you as an entrepreneur or your workplace, we're talking about it. Join us every Wednesday for a new episode.
Rogers TV produces 100% local community programming. It's an exciting volunteer experience. We train hundreds of volunteers to work side by side with professional television producers. No experience required. If you'd like to volunteer, visit rogerstv.com.